He woke up next to her every morning. Her slippers were still by the bed. Her voice was still there, soft, asking, "Coffee?" But something had changed quietly. There are moments in life when we realize it's not about what's still here. It's about what we are no longer feeling. And this chapter of life after 50, it's not about what you keep doing. It's about what you finally stop ignoring. Today we're going to reflect on the advice that men and women in their 70s wish they could give their 50-year-old selves. Gentle reminders about time, purpose, and presence before it's too late. A man in his 70s once told me quietly over a cup of tea, "When I look back, life wasn't divided by decades. It was divided by energy. In your 20s you have time and health, but no money. You dream wildly, stay up late, say yes to everything, but you can't afford much beyond the basics. In your 30s and 40s you start making money, but your time begins to vanish. Career demands, children's schedules, and family obligations fill every calendar square. And by your 50s and early 60s something remarkable happens. You've likely built stability. You're wiser. Your body still moves when you ask it to, though perhaps the fleeting triangle of time, money, and energy a little slower, a little stiffer. Then comes your 70s. You might still have time. You may even have money. But energy becomes the rarest currency. That man called it the fleeting triangle: time, money, energy. At almost no point in life do we hold all three fully in our grasp. And he leaned in and said softly, "If I could go back, I would stop waiting for the perfect alignment. I would spend more time when I had energy, even if the money felt tight." The window that opens in your 50s and 60s is small but golden. Your body still answers your invitations to hike, dance, and travel. You can take your grandchildren fishing and not just sit on the bench watching. But many people in their 70s share a common regret. They waited too long. They postponed that trip to Italy until retirement. They skipped that spontaneous camping weekend because work will ease up next year. They delayed saying yes to a sunrise hike because there's always next summer. And then the body said no quietly, irreversibly. So if you are listening today in your 50s or early 60s, this is your rare season. A season where your mind is why. Is your finances steadier and your body is still capable? Take that trip, dance at that wedding. Walk farther than you need to climb that hill just for the view. Say yes to the things your body can still experience fully. Because what almost every 70-year-old will tell you is this: you don't regret what costs money. You regret what cost you time you can't buy back. And this window, it's shrinking faster than you realize. There are three types of time in your life: career, relationships, and recovery. Most of us spend our decades pouring into the first two. We chase deadlines. We nurture children. We care for parents. We build homes, businesses, partnerships. But ask most common regrets about waiting too long. 70-year-olds. And they'll quietly tell you, "I forgot to protect time for recovery. And by the time I remembered, my body and mind were already exhausted." Recovery isn't just sleep. It's the unscheduled hour on a Sunday morning. It's sitting quietly on a porch and watching the wind move through trees. It's brewing tea slowly, not rushing. It's tending a small garden, not because it's productive, but because it calms your breathing. A woman at 71 reflected with the softness in her eyes. "I wish I had realized sooner that walks in nature, time for hobbies, mornings spent without plans, they weren't luxuries. They were maintenance for my spirit." Do you know what truly restores you? Is it walking at dusk when the streets are quiet? Is it woodworking in a small shed, surrounded by the smell of sawdust and memories? Is it cycling not for speed or distance, but to feel the wind against your skin? Is it reading quietly, coffee warm in your hand as the world rushes somewhere else? Many in their 50s are so busy doing that they forget how to be. They fill every spare minute with errands. They pack calendars with commitments. Even weekends become projects to complete rather than spaces to breathe. But here's what elders often say, almost like a confession. I spent decades efficient and forgot how to feel present. In your 50s, this lesson is timely. Start protecting this kind of recovery time fiercely. Block it on your calendar as if it's an appointment with someone important, because it is. It's an appointment with yourself. And here's the quiet truth. Without time to recover, everything else drains faster than you think. Your energy thins. Your patience shortens. Your joy fades. So, before you lose more, find out what renews you and make space for it. Even if the dishes aren't done or the emails aren't answered, because your peace is worth protecting, and your peace is what allows you to give love and show up fully without resentment. Another common regret from those in their 70s. I said yes too often to the wrong things. In our 20s and 30s, saying yes feels the importance of recovery and peaceful time. Like growth. Yes to opportunities. Yes to social gatherings. Yes to career projects, workshops, committees, networking events. But in your 50s, saying yes too freely begins to close doors. Because every careless yes to something unnecessary is an invisible no. No to your rest. No to your family. No to your health. No to your quiet presence at home. A retired executive shared this softly while stirring his tea. I kept accepting work dinners I didn't want. I kept joining committees that drained me, until one day I realized the calendar is not a trophy. It's a trap. The lesson here is simple but hard to live. The more successful you become, the more invitations will come your way. But success isn't how many you accept. It's how well you discern which invitations protect your peace. In your 50s and 60s, your time becomes precious in a way you didn't fully grasp before. The friend who says you're always busy, pause and ask, busy doing what? The colleague who invites you to another networking dinner, pause and ask, will this nourish me or drain me? The endless errands that fill your Saturdays, pause and ask, am I doing this out of obligation or alignment? It's okay to say no to the extra meeting. It's okay to decline an invitation that's dressed up as important but doesn't resonate. It's okay to turn down one more project if that means saying yes to your daily walk, your quiet coffee, your time with grandchildren. Elders often reflect that their calendars in midlife were filled with what they thought mattered, until they reached a certain age and realized the people who truly love you don't mind when you say no, and the people who mind when you say no might not have truly mattered. Your 50s and 60s are a sacred window, not to be packed full but to be curated wisely. So protect your peace by saying no when you need to, not out of selfishness but out of clarity. Because every no to something that drains you is a yes to your well-being, your presence, and your quiet joy. Time is money. We've all heard that phrase. Many of us even lived by it for decades, measuring hours in dollars, viewing overtime as virtue, sacrificing evenings and weekends because I'll make it up later. But every 70-year-old I've met says with quiet certainty that phrase is wrong. Money regenerates. It can be earned again, invested, grown, even recouped after saying no to protect your peace. Mistakes. But time only moves forward. And once it's spent, it cannot be saved, retrieved, or replaced. At 50, many of us are finally in a position to earn and save properly. The career may have peaked. The house may be paid down. The children grown and independent. For the first time, financial security feels within reach. But here's the hidden danger. In that very moment, we double down on work, imagining a future where we'll finally enjoy it all. Someday, and someday often never arrives. A client of mine, retired at 68, shared this reflection. That haunted me. I spent so long earning, and then I found myself, wealthy retired, sitting alone and wondering why my phone never rang. The people he cared for had drifted. The friendships he deferred had withered. The afternoons he skipped gone. Because money you save cannot buy back. A grandchild's soccer game you didn't attend. A dinner you rushed through to check email. A long weekend you promise to do next year. What most elders learn too late is this. Presence matters more than possessions. When you sit quietly with a friend. When you walk slowly with your partner. When you listen fully to a loved one. That's wealth. We think we can earn now and live later. But life doesn't wait for a portfolio to be complete. Spend wisely, yes, save responsibly, of course, but never hoard at the expense of lived experience, because no amount of money can purchase a single afternoon well spent. Many retirees share this hidden truth. 6 months after retiring, I felt bored. Not just bored in the casual sense, but a deep, uncomfortable emptiness. Why? Because so many people spend their lives running away from stress. The deadlines, the meetings, the alarms, the daily grind. They fantasize about stopping work but never truly consider, what am I running toward? And here's what few talk about. Leisure alone is not purpose. Without purpose, retirement feels hollow, a long stretch of empty mornings where coffee cools too quickly, where afternoons drag, where evenings feel restless. If you're in your 50s or 60s, this is a time versus money. Why elders stop believing time is money. Gentle wake-up call. Don't just dream of quitting. Dream of what will fill your mornings. When there are no more emails, no more meetings, no one waiting for you to arrive. Many elders reflect that they longed for freedom, but when it finally came, they didn't know what to do with it. So ask yourself today, what stirs your curiosity? What did you love as a child that you quietly set aside? What skill do you possess that could light the way for someone younger? What place feels like home even if you haven't visited in years? The happiest retirees aren't just resting. They are engaging. They mentor. They teach. They volunteer. At libraries, garden schools. They pick up hobbies abandoned in youth. Woodworking, painting, learning languages, writing stories their grandchildren will someday read. Retirement is not an end. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to pivot from productivity to presence. From deadlines to depth, from external validation to quiet fulfillment. And here's what many 70-year-olds wish they had known earlier. It's never too late to find purpose, but it's much easier if you start before you stop working. Because the most beautiful mornings are not the ones without alarm clocks. They are the ones you wake up with something. Retirement, emptiness versus purposeful living. Or someone to care for. Another common piece of advice from those in their 70s is simple but profound. Call your friends more. It seems so obvious, but few of us do it enough. We think we have time. We think we'll catch up soon. We convince ourselves that friendships can wait because we're busy, productive, exhausted. But here's a truth that elders often confess with a quiet, almost embarrassed tone. I didn't lose my closest friendships. The quiet loss of friendships by neglect. Because of fights. I lost them because of neglect. It happens quietly. A call we forget to return. A birthday we miss. An invitation we decline. Just this time. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the warmth between friends cools. A man at 72 shared his story. When I retired, I finally had time to call my old best friend from childhood. But when I picked up the phone, I realized we hadn't spoken in 25 years. Not because anything bad happened, but because life. They did reconnect, but he also admitted that there was a sadness beneath their laughter, a recognition that so much time had slipped away. Unrecoverable. Friendships like gardens don't survive on their own. They need tending. Final advice from elders. Use your time, love your people. Not grand gestures, but small steady ones. A text just because. A 5-minute call to say, I'm thinking of you. A postcard from a trip. A cup of coffee when you're passing through town. The elders know this deeply. In your later years, your well-being isn't just determined by your health or wealth. It's shaped by the relationships that still sit at your table. Who would you call first if something wonderful happened today? When was the last time you called them? Not because you needed something, but because you missed the sound of their voice. In your 50s and 60s, there's still time to nurture these connections. Still time to show up. Still time to choose presence over excuse, because one day you may find that you have a free afternoon but no one left to call, and you'll wish you had made those calls while the people who mattered were still just a phone call away. In your 50s or 60s, you stand at a crossroads. You have enough years behind you to know what matters and still enough years ahead to live wisely. Elders who've gone before you all seem to say the same thing. Use your time, protect your peace, love your people, and honor your purpose. If this resonated with you, comment below. I choose presence over